Hi guys, it's Sophie. So I'm going to be doing a May book haul today for you all. I feel like I haven't really got much because I didn't buy much, but actually I've been sent quite a lot from publishers this month, so yeah, it's a kind of medium-sized haul anyhow. I'm trying to cut back on what I'm buying and what I'm receiving. I'm turning down a lot of review requests at the moment, just because I'm trying to read a lot of the books that I own still. But yeah, hopefully there are a few things to be interested in here anyhow. So the first ones I have are some George Orwell. So I recently read England, Your England and really enjoyed that, so I wanted to carry on and read a few more of his essays. So I got Politics and the English Language, which is about, as you'd expect, about the way in which we talk about politics and the way in which that those two things interact. And it should be really interesting. That's kind of pairing two of my interests. So yeah, I'm really excited to read that one. It's only kind of 15 pages or so, same as England, Your England. And the next one I have is Books vs Cigarettes by George Orwell. And I understand that this started out as a kind of rant about him trying to decide whether he'd rather spend his money on a book or on cigarettes. And it kind of goes into kind of like just his attitude on life, and it's just a kind of good ranty one. It's a bit longer than the other one. It's a great ideas collection, and this one is 125 pages long, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. And I love the cover. I think it's really clever. I think it's really nice. It's one of those ones you want to like frame. I guess that like Penguin always do really good covers, so yeah, there's that one. And then the next one I have is another one that I just think it's such a lovely cover again, but it's The Decline of the English Murder by George Orwell, and it's talking about all the reasons in which all of the like Agatha Christie style murders, why they aren't happening anymore. And I think that sounds like so up my street. I'm so ready for this. Yeah, so it says about how like you used to be able to read in the papers about crimes involving like sex and class and like poisonings, and now that doesn't really happen anymore. And obviously that's a good thing, but it sounds like quite an interesting read anyhow. Yeah, and again, I love the cover so much. And then the last one I have is the one I think is most well known, and that is Why I Write. Again, a beautiful book. I just love all of them. I feel like I could just put them all on my wall. But yeah, so this is an essay on writing, on why writing is important, on like the essence of like truth in writing. So he says, it says the quote on the cover, which I really like, is political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give an appearance of solidity to pure wind. Which I just think is brilliant, like such a good quote. So yeah, I'm really excited for all of the Orwells, and I'm kind of pulling back from reading them, but I might take a few with me when I go away, and let myself dive into them just because I'm so excited for them, but we will see. Okay, and the only other book that I bought myself this month, which is so good for me to buy only like 4 books. Yeah, 4 books, and 3 of them are like really short essays. It's another collection of essays, and this one is Lines in the Sand, Collected Journalism by A. Gill. And I understand that this one is sort of the collection of the best essays of this journalist, who I think has now died. The reason I picked it up is because there are 2 essays in there. One is about border towns in Mexico, and one is about refugees in the like Calais jungle, and both of those sounded really interesting to me. I don't know about like too many of the other essays, though he seems to have travelled a fair bit, and there are a lot of essays on different countries. Yeah, so like there's a whole section on refugees, and like people travelling, and then there's a section on like travel writing, and then a little bit of English sort of writing at the end, I think. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm quite excited for this one. I think I saw it very much as the kind of the refugee element of it, and the kind of immigration, legal immigration side of it as an interesting piece to read about. But yeah, it's been a while since I've read a collection of essays, and this one just really stood out to me. I also think the cover again is really striking. And the next one I have was actually given as a gift by Acacia from Acacia Ives. It was a birthday present, and it's one of the books that I know that she has been absolutely raving about on her channel and has been speaking about sort of for like most of the year really. And that one is The Clay Girl. I've seen this one knocking around in a few other people's channels as well. I think Mercedes and Jen have both read it or hauled it at least. But yeah, I understand that it's kind of a story of 2 girls who are kind of coping with the aftermath of their father having shot himself in front of them. I think. I know very little about it, and I kind of don't want to know much more because I know that Acacia loved it, and I know that it's also getting like lots of love from other people, and I think knowing that Acacia loves it and that other people are loving it is enough that I think I want to go in fairly blind, because I think it's probably going to be quite dark, but interesting. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. It's also really nicely published. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to it, but I think it's going to be like quite a quick read as well when I do, whilst it's quite long. I just feel like I'm going to get through it quite quickly. I might save it for a day when I'm feeling a bit low. And then all of the rest of the ones I have this month are from publishers, and they're actually all from Penguin, so thank you so much for sending me so many books this month. It's really exciting. So the first one I requested, and that one is Men Without Women by Murakami, Haruki Murakami. I know there's a lot of like Murakami haters on BookTube. I actually really like Murakami. I understand that what he does is very samey, and I understand that what he does is very much of his style, but I actually really like his style, and I think as long as I pace his books out, I tend to really like Murakami. So this is a short story collection. Murakami hasn't done a short story collection in a while, and they're all around very lonely men who are, as you can kind of tell, divorced from women in some sense in their life. So maybe they're pining after someone, very Murakami-esque, or maybe they have lost someone that they love. But yeah, so it's a collection of stories all about the experience of kind of single and lonely men. But I think I'm quite interested in that as a topic. I don't think it's often that you read literary fiction in which there is sort of a male centre that is seen as having quite feminized traits. So like the idea of like a very lonely person like pining after someone tends to be expressed as that being a female, and I think that that could be quite interesting just to see like almost quite a vulnerable side of men in Murakami's collection. So yeah, I was really excited for this one, and obviously, you know, requested it because I wanted to give it a read. I'm sure I'm going to love it. It's one of those things where I feel fairly secure going in that I'm gonna enjoy this one. Okay, so the next ones I have I'm really excited for. And what these are is it's the collection of Penguin Essentials, and they're like modern classics that have been done in some really beautiful covers, and they look gorgeous. They sent me the whole set, which was so exciting, and I'm going to show you them now. I don't know a lot about these books, or some of them, so we will learn together, I think, in this video, because I've just kind of put them to one side so I didn't get too excited until I hauled them. But the first one that I do know about, because I've read it, is The Circle by Dave Eggers. This is a really creepy book. Like, I really like Dave Eggers. I've read 3 or 4 of his books and enjoyed pretty much all of the ones I've read. I do think that The Circle was probably my favourite, apart from Your Father's Were Our Lady Prophets one, whatever that is, that long title. The Circle is essentially about like Facebook gone wrong. So it's partly I love it because it's kind of like my work, but like it's kind of the view of like the inside of a company and how the company trying to like motivate their employees to do more work, but it's really wrong. Like this company monitors everything that they do, and like they very slowly add in these elements so that everything is the company, and it's like such a modern day like horror story, and I don't know, I loved it. I think this book's brilliant. Yeah, so I'd recommend it. But yeah, I think it's a really nice addition as well. Sorry, that was my alarm. That's the dangers of filming before you normally get up in the morning. It's 7 AM now, so yeah. So the next one that I have is one that I thought I'd read, but actually I don't think I have. I just think I've seen it so often I feel as though I must have read it, and that's White Teeth by Zadie Smith. Now I know I've read NW by her, but I don't think I've read White Teeth. This one says, when fate steps in and roundly ruins divorced 47-year-old Artsy Jones's suicide attempt, he seizes his second life by the horns and promptly meets and marries Clara Bowden, a Caribbean girl 28 years his junior. Thus begins a tale of friendship, love, war, 3 cultures, 3 families over 3 generations. Yeah, I haven't read it. I feel like I have, but no, I hadn't. I definitely haven't read that. So yeah, but I'll look forward to getting to this one at some stage. I did enjoy NW. I thought it was really interesting and quite different to what I've read before. And again, just like gorgeous colours. And the next one I have is an author that I've seen kind of everywhere, but I've not heard a lot about, and I don't know whether that's just my like poor booktubing. But yeah, it's someone who I know is like popular and in the canon, but that I've never read. And it's Any Human Heart by William Boyd. And my understanding about this one is that it is like a young man journeys through the 20th century. Yeah, so it says like he goes to Paris and meets Hemingway. In London he goes and argues with Virginia Woolf. He gets recruited by Ian Fleming. Then he like goes into the war, ends up in 60s New York, and he's basically trying to figure out life through like the history of the 20th century and figure out his place in it. That sounds really cool. But yeah, so that one's definitely a new author for me, and again, I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to all of these, but I am really excited for it. And the next one is one that I have really wanted to pick up for a while now, and I cannot get over how gorgeous this book is. And this is The Reluctant Fundamentalist by Mohsin Hamid. I've got one of his other books, Exit West, which is his new release, that I really want to read as well. But this one, it sounds so terrifying. So this basically tells a story about, I believe, about a man who is recruited into like an extremist version of Islam by this man who comes and meets him in a cafe in the middle of the night and tells him about how he thought he lived this Western dream, and how he like took on a Western woman and he was part of that culture, and then what changed that. And it just sounds really creepy and really intimate, and yeah, I cannot get over how gorgeous this book is. Like, it is stunning. But yeah, so this is one I was going to pick up anyway, so I was really pleased to see that that was in there. It's one book that, you know, I don't have to buy myself, but yeah, I will absolutely let you know how I get on with this one, and Exit West too when I get to that one. Now the next one is one that one of my best friends would not shut up about me reading for a long time, and it's one of those ones that I kind of feel like I should have read, but I never did, because I really struggle with books which have romance as a central theme. But I feel like this is probably going to be one of those exceptions to my rule. It's High Fidelity by Nick Hornby, and I understand again this is like a really realistic and funny love story about people falling in love and then falling out of love and then maybe falling back into love again. I don't really know, but yeah, it's one that like I've kind of avoided very carefully, just because I'm like, oh, but it's got romance in it, and I don't really do romance, but I think actually I'm probably going to quite like it. I just need to get my socks on. So yeah, there's that one. And then the next 5 of them I don't know anything about, so I'm going to show you them and then I'm going to read the back and then talk a little bit about what it says. Okay, so the next one is Are You Experienced by William Sutcliffe, and this one is about a couple who decide to go backpacking in India, and the woman finds herself basically and thinks that backpacking is the most wonderful experience that anyone can ever undertake, and the man of the partnership thinks that she's mad and that backpacking's awful, and they're there for 3 months trying to figure this out together. It's supposed to be quite funny. I think that sounds quite good, to be honest. Yeah, and again, like maybe another one that's like a love story but not quite a love story that maybe I can cope with, so yeah, there you go. Okay, and the next one I've seen everywhere but I've never read or heard much about, and that one is A Short History of Tractors in the Ukraine by Maria Lewiska. And I understand that this one is about a man who falls in love with like a Ukrainian woman who the family of this man think is just a complete gold digger and that she doesn't like him at all, but he's convinced that they're in love. I think it's quite funny, and it's kind of a story of like, I guess like maybe love gone a bit wrong, but I think also it gets quite dark. I don't know why, but yeah, I feel like it gets quite dark, but we'll see about this one. It's one that again, like I've seen so many places, but I haven't really heard anything about it or heard anyone talking about it. The next one sounds quite interesting, and again, I know nothing about this one, and it's called A Start in Life, and it's by Anita Brookner. That's the cover. And from what I understand on the back, the little quote is, Dr. Wiesel at 40 knew her life had been ruined by literature. So she is an academic who thinks that she can find herself through the study of sort of literature, and kind of finds that she isn't quite as bad as she thought she was. I don't really know. We'll see. It feels quite vague from the back, but yeah, I think it's maybe about a woman kind of finding herself, or about not knowing who she is. And I haven't read a book about like women's journeys for a while now. I've read a lot of male books this year, so I think a female book would be like a female journey kind of thing, would be quite refreshing. Okay, I think this one is my favourite cover of all the covers, and I've never heard anything about it, and I read the back just a second ago and now I'm very excited. And this one is called Twilight by Elie Wiesel, and I'm going to read you the back. So the quote is, as a boy, Raphael feared madness but was drawn to madmen, which automatically I'm in, I love it. Okay. A professor of literature and a Holocaust survivor, Raphael longs to find Pedro, the man who rescued him as an orphan from post-war Poland. But Pedro vanished inside the prisons of Stalin's Russia. When a mysterious caller directs him to the mountain clinic, an asylum for those whose delusions spring from the Bible. He finds patients calling themselves Adam, Cain, Abraham, Joseph, Jeremiah and God. Searching for Pedro among them, Raphael seeks the meaning of his own survival. Asylums, dark topics, weird religious elements, maybe like larger scale issues around like God and faith involved in the Holocaust. That sounds so good. Yeah, and the cover is mad. I love it. I'm just going to take it a little bit closer for you so you can see just the detail on it. But yeah, I love it. I'm really excited for that one now. As I say, never heard anything about it, so yeah. And the very last one I have is The Road to Lichfield by Penelope Lively. And I think this is going to be quite a sad one. It says that this woman called Annie Linton finds that her father has a stroke, and she goes and takes the road to Lichfield to go and see him each weekend before he dies. But as she goes there, she finds that she gets her life caught up in this other place. She has an affair, she tries to save an old cottage, and she doesn't think that her dad is quite who he said he was. Again, that sounds like quite an interesting female-led story. Very different to the other book, but again an interesting one for me, potentially quite sad. So those are all of the books that I was sent this month. I feel like that was actually way longer of a video than I thought it was going to be, because obviously I was learning a little bit about the books as well as doing them, which normally I don't do because it's rare I accept sort of books I don't know much about, I guess. But I was just so excited for that collection. I just think it looks so good and they're so beautifully designed. I think that's what I can't get over when I look at them. It's like, they're gorgeous. They really are gorgeous. The only slight sort of concern I have is just the size. They're smaller, and I actually quite like that they're smaller. They're very kind of pocket sized. But just the thinner books, I'm not stressed about at all. I only worry with the circle and white teeth that you might end up with cracking on the spine. So if that's something that really bothers you, that might be something just to like feel the book and see what you think. They are fairly easy to open. It's not as though they're really hard spined. But I know that some people that really bothers them. I'm fairly used to like working with my spines, but yeah, that's the only thing to be aware of with that collection, I think. Other than that, I think they look fabulous. Yeah, and I've got a few things this month, and I think I'm quite pleased with myself that I've managed to only buy so few books for myself. Because as I say, I'm really trying to cut down on what I'm buying at the moment. I am still buying stuff. I'm not like on a book buying ban, and I am still receiving stuff, obviously. But I'm really focusing on trying to read the books that I own again, and probably trying to reduce my TBR to 0 or near 0 by the end of the year. I have around 40 books at the moment that I own that I haven't read, but I am kind of cycling through those. They're all kind of set out in different piles in my room of how long I've had them. But yeah, so there will be a haul next month, I would expect, but it probably just won't be many books. It'll probably just be a couple. Yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed hearing me chat about the books that I have today. Let me know if you sort of have read any of these, if you're excited for them. No spoilers for any of them, because I know some of those Penguin ones are really well known, and I'm dead excited for the Reductant Fundamentalist. That's probably the one that I am most excited for, and the cover's amazing as well. So yeah, leave me a comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys really soon in some more videos. So I'm going to be doing some Watch Sophie doing very little videos probably from tomorrow, because I have another week off. So look forward to those. You'll see an awful lot of me in the next few days. Alright, see you all soon. Bye bye.